United we stand, divided we fall. Mm. You know, if you're any normal family, there will always be family feuds, unfortunately. Brothers, against sisters, against parents. You know, if you look at our most companies in the Philippines, I mean, the big ones, the not so big ones, they're always fighting in the family. You know, the Ayalas before, Enrique Zobel used to be the head of Ayala Corporation, and what happened, he had a quarrel with his cousin. The cousin's name is Andres Soriano, that in San Miguel. Because of that, their grandmother took out the power from Enrique and gave it to Jaime Isabel. A lot of corporations, a friend of mine, the family is fighting and fighting between siblings. And normally this happens, especially if they're big. The company is big, if there's a lot of money is involved. Even in our family, my mother's side, there's fighting. The sad thing there is there's 15, 14, 16 of them fighting. Different factions, saying painful words, saying hurtful words. There's a saying, sticks and stones couldn't break my bones, but words couldn't hurt me. Which is not true. Sometimes a word is more harmful than a belt. A belt, once you get it, after what, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, it's gone. But a painful word leaves its mark on the person. And there will always be family feuds, unfortunately. You know, even the Bible, go to Micah chapter 7. Micah chapter 7 verse 6 tells us, "For the son treats father contemptuously." Well, that hurts. The son treating the father contemptuously. Daughter rises up against her mother. We see that sometimes. Daughters answering back to their very mother. Oh my, I hope that doesn't happen to my daughter. Daughter-in-law against mother-in-law, a man's enemies are the man of his own household. Wow. That hurts. Go to Acts chapter 15. Acts chapter 15, verse 36 to 41. After some days, Paul said to Barnabas, "Let us return and visit a brethren in every city in which we proclaim the word of the Lord, and see how they are." Barnabas wanted to take John, called Mark, along with them. But Paul kept insisting that they should not take him alone, who had deserted them in Pamphylia, and not had gone with them to their work. And there occurred such sharp disagreement that they separated from one another. Barnabas took Mark with him and sailed away to Cyprus. Paul chose Silas and left, being committed by the brethren to the grace of the Lord. And he was traveling through Syria and Cilicia, strengthening the church. And this is church work. Go to 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 1. Verse 11 and 12 says, "For I have been informed concerning you, my brothers, by Chloe's people, that there are quarrels among you. Now, I mean this, that each one of you is saying, I am of Paul, and I am of Apollos, and I am of Cephas, and I am of Christ. People were quarreling in Corinthians, in Corinth. What were they quarreling about? Who is their D group leader? I'm Peter Tanji. I'm Joby Soriano. My leader is better than yours. Your leader is better than mine. And, do you think that's such a small thing to quarrel about? And if you think of it, they say 80 or 90% of quarrels between husband and wives are minor, avoidable. And if you think all of the quarrels you had between brothers and sisters and brothers, do you think those are avoidable or not? They're totally avoidable. Right? Now try to imagine this. One day in your local church, the church had their regular meeting. In that meeting, you found out one of your friend from another church was in trouble. And you decided, as a group, guys, let's help. Let's help our friend who is now in jail. What should we do? Let's send some help. Okay, Bambino, why don't you go there? Here's the money, go there and try to minister. Now, while Bambi was there, we found out that Bambi became so sick, very sick, that he almost died. Wow, the whole church started praying because they heard that Bambino was very, very sick. Then one day, unexpectedly, Bambino goes back. Everybody was concerned. Oh, Bambi, how are you? How are things? What's going on? How is our friend in jail? And this is what was happening here in Philippi. The church in Philippi heard about the situation of Paul, that they sent Epaphroditus to minister to him. And there, Epaphroditus got sick. And Paul decided to send him back. Sick to the point that he almost died. So, when Epaphroditus came back, you can imagine the people. Oh, how are you? What happened? We heard you almost died. And he said, yeah, I almost died. Then Sunday comes along. Epaphroditus says, guess what, guys? I have a letter. Paul, the one who helped build our church, the one who started this church with Lydia and a slave, the one that's dear to us, the one that we supported, has a letter for us. When I visited him, he said, when you get home, read this letter to the whole church. Can you imagine what would be the attendance of that church that day? Everybody would be excited. Everybody would be anxious. Everybody would be longing to see what's on that letter. Tell us. And there, Epaphroditus starts reading the letter to the church. And he tells about, guys, all of us, we should walk in a manner worthy of the gospel. And people in the congregation would say, Amen. We agree to that. We agree that all of us should walk in a manner worthy of the gospel. And as he continues reading the letter, Paul would say, think of others better than yourself. And the church there will be saying, amen, we agree to that. We should think of others better than ourselves. And Epaphroditus, as he was reading his letter, would say, guys, we have to have the same mind of Christ. We should think that way. And the members of the church would say, amen, we believe in that. And as Epaphroditus was reading the letter, people were saying, amen, amen, amen. Everybody's encouraged. Then Paul says, by the way, beware of dogs. Beware of evildoers. Beware of this type of people. And everybody was saying, okay, that's true. Let's watch. Let's watch and be weary. Then Epaphroditus would continue to read the letter of Paul and says, work out your salvation. And the goal of our life is what? To be Christ-like. Again, nobody's offended by the letter. Everybody still say, amen, amen. We believe that. We should follow that. We should pursue that. But all of a sudden, as Epaphroditus was reading the letter, he does something very unusual. Paul was not coyed. When he was writing the letter, he was not coyed by the prominence of Judea and Syntyche. While reading the letter, Epaphroditus would have read the letter of Paul to the church as a whole. All of a sudden, out of the blue, Paul, through Epaphroditus, would say, I urge Judea and I urge Syntyche to live in harmony in the Lord. Wow! That's unheard of. You don't call out people in the crowd. It's like saying, you and you, magbati nga kayo in the middle of a message. You're putting him and her in a very bad light. Mapapahiya sila. They would lose face. You know, in the Roman Empire is very patriarchal, right? But slowly, the status of women at that time is slowly growing. It's slowly gaining prominence. The rise. The Greek and Roman oratories. Now, people, they don't give names. You seldom see a name of a girl being mentioned. Normally in literary writings at the time, there's only two reasons why a name of a female will be mentioned. Either they're notable or they're notorious. And here, Paul is giving the names of Judea and Syntyche. And chances are, these two ladies are very powerful, are very prominent in the church. I mean, who lady would have the time, the resources, the freedom to come along and serve with Paul? Because the first responsibility of a woman is to serve his household. You cannot do anything else unless you do serving the household. First things first. Yet Judea and Syntyche was able, shared with my struggles in the cause of the gospel. They were there with Paul in ministering. And that could only be possible if if they have